Ahora sí me tienes que decir cuál es tu nombre en portugués.
Kim Richelli.
¿Cómo?
Kim Richelli.
Kim Richelli.
Richelli.
O sea que te llamas Kim de todas maneras.
Sí,
¡Ay, qué maravilla! Me ha encantado tu nave extraterrestre.
gracias.
Suena hermosa. Déjame ver el otro lado.
Sí, este lado también se puede tocar.
¡Ay, qué belleza! Oye, ¿y haces capoeira? Tienes toda la pinta de capoeirista. ¿Ah?
Sí.
¡Qué maravilla! Perfecto. Obrigado. Okay, so here we are with Russell and Kim. They are musicians and they play some really nice instruments, and the music that you're going to be listening in the background while we have a talk with them. And we're just going to ask them, what are these instruments? Because, they're not like just the regular instruments you see in any group. And maybe we start asking Kim, what's the name of this sort of spaceship instrument that he plays?
Yes, so the instrument that you're referring to is called the hung, spelled H-A-N-G. It's a relatively new instrument, although it has very ancient origins. It was only invented in about the year 2000 in Switzerland, in Bern, Switzerland.
Oh.
And it's just two people who make them all by hand, the inventor and a woman who works with him, co-inventors actually.
Mm-hmm.
And company is called Pan Art. And it's a derivative of the steel drums.
drum.
Right, exactly. But it's tuned very differently, and it's played with the fingertips instead of sticks, so it has a very different sound. And also it has a center bass note, which is tied into the sound of all the other notes. So really, whereas the steel drum, it's very isolated pitches, this kind of creates almost like a choir of sound.
And so like the note on the top would be like the C note, the central
one
C?
you heard today, for example, was a D, actually.
Oh, it was a
and
D.
Then there's a tone field, a circle of tone fields around it, which are all related to the D, and which are all harmonically tuned. And each of the tone fields actually has the fundamental pitch of whatever the tone is, plus the octave above that, and then the fifth above that. So
Wow.
It's this very, very harmonious. Each field is very harmonious on its own, and then together it creates this really beautiful.
Yeah, where did you learn to play that instrument?
Well, since there's not really any established playing technique right now because the instrument is so new, so really we're developing playing technique as we go along. I'm one of the first players,
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah.
How did you find out about that instrument?
I saw someone else playing one on Earth Day, actually, and I fell in love. I mean, immediately, something in my heart was deeply, deeply moved, and I knew that was, something that had to come into my life.
So that's a mixture of, I would say, drums and steel drums and drums which are related to the heart, and as well, like, the metal sound.
Right, well, exactly. And I mean, it definitely is, it's percussive and it's very rhythmic in that sense, but it can also be played very melodically, because it is a melodic instrument.
I don't know if you've heard of Shadowfax. It's a new age group. They're amazing. And when I started listening to what you were playing, immediately I was expecting to hear the Lyricon, because it's a sound base that they have in their music, and I have not seen that instrument that they played. The group doesn't exist anymore, but it was amazing because the sound was so similar to some instruments that they had, and I thought, wow, I was like, this is so familiar, but it's completely that's a UFO he's playing. It's a spaceship.
Well, a lot of people have described the sound as primordial. Something people said it sounds like all the instruments put together. It has like a piano sound, it has a harp sound, it's the percussive sound, it's like strings, melodic percussion. So it's really, you could hear it and it blends with almost anything, and you could hear almost anything in it. It's very.
So in that sense, that's why you join with Russell, and he plays that didgeridoo. Is that what it is?
That is what it is.
And where did you get that didgeridoo? I mean, did you actually have to go to Australia to get it?
Well, actually, the one that you saw is actually one. I have a kind of a family of them, and similar to Kim, the didges are all in different keys, so we can match them up in different ways. And the one that you saw there was actually the D, goes along with his D, and that actually one was it was hand painted in Bali, made out of traditional eucalyptus wood, which is very, very hard wood, which is naturally carved out by termites.
Oh,
So
how interesting. So how do you, because we see you blowing like strange ways in your mouth. I mean, can you explain a little what you need to do in order to get that sound out?
He's an expert at blowing in strange ways. I would say.
Oh, well, it's so strange.
Good to see how that all lands. Well, there's two kind of parts to it, if I can say. One is actually the drone, which is the fundamental tone. So it's and then there's all variations of technique off of that tone. Then the other part is the circular breathing part, which is kind of the strange blowing aspect of the whole thing, which allows the tone to remain constant. It's a circular breath where you can continue, where you can keep a constant tone. So how you actually do that is, obviously you can't inhale and exhale at the same time. It doesn't really work that way. But what you can do is you can actually use your diaphragm and the whole diaphragmatic and breathing apparatus to be able to pump the air like a bellow. So basically you inhale and can store it, and once it's in there, you begin to blow out, and then as you begin to blow out, you're going to obviously start to lose air. So how you pump the bellow back up is you squeeze the air out and inhale at the same time. So I'm squeezing and inhaling, and then I let it flow out.
That's a strange
Hence the
way.
strange blowing.
Yeah, well,
technique.
let me ask you, does the quality of the sound that comes out of the instrument has to do at all with the tone of your voice?
Fantastic question. Yes and no. Yes, if I'm using vocal skills or vocal techniques in there, you can play the ditch without using the voice at all. What creates the fundamental tone is just the vibration of the air moving down the instrument. So the wah is not my voice.
Yeah.
But I can add my voice to give it, certain kinds of effects, certain kinds of techniques where you'll be hearing it there.
Oh,
'Cause
great.
It can't make the sound and blow strangely at the same time.
That's interesting. So the blowing part, it just gives you the one note.
Yes.
In this case, the D. That's why you can play with Kim. Exactly.
Then you can modulate the tone, and just even without any voice at all, I can sharpen it or flatten it and really stretch it out. And then also
Modulate the harmonics too.
modulate the harmonics with this certain way of using your tongue to be able to make it go high, sharpen it, really make it really pristine there. It also brings in overtones too. The voice is a really amazing way to really stretch out and really bring in overtones and undertones.
Did you guys have to study music or understand the dynamics of the musical notes in order to do what you're doing with your music?
Well, I mean, I've definitely, I've studied. I haven't studied. I don't have a classical background. I can very basic level of reading and writing music, but I have studied with several indigenous traditions, everything from Indian, Persian, Brazilian, etc. Everywhere I've gone or people I've met throughout the world, and I've kind of taken their concepts more, and it's concepts that are not just musical concepts, but sometimes cosmological concepts or philosophical concepts, emotional concepts, and that really more than anything is what I draw from personally.
So
when
you're
I'm working.
doing sort of like an eclectic blend of your experiences with with traditional cultures.
Yeah, that's correct.
And I think that's really what our music is about. It's really about a bridge between all different cultures to really express, the fundamental principle of life, which is that
The
we
essence
are all
of
connected.
vibration.
Pardon?
The essence of vibration.
This is a vibration, which is a unified field of sound. So our music is all about healing and help people into that field of sound, which is into the essence of who they are. So we seek to unify each other through the heart.
So you think both instruments reach the heart chakra or the heart centers?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you heard? Excuse me. Have you heard that? Have you heard about the Tibetan horn, the long one? Have you heard the possibility that they use this instrument to go to different levels of consciousness, or even like I was listening to somebody saying that they use this kind of instruments to bring down the walls of Jericho or this kind of thing. Did you know something about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard. I mean, I've read. Even further than that, that it was actually they've used not just one horn, but a combination of horns and drums and other instruments in order to move large stone blocks. And there's a Westerner who in the, I think the 30s or something, was privy to actually witness this, and saw them, getting gigantic stone blocks up to a temple which is otherwise completely inaccessible, and that with stone of that kind that was nowhere around it, there was no explanation for how else they could have gotten that stone up there, and then he actually saw them do it.
Amazing.
And brought back and wrote, have a written report.
This is also a cross-cultural phenomenon, whereas in Egyptian cultures and Peruvian cultures, over and over again. I mean, how were the pyramids really built? They say they mathematically, thousands of people to do it, but
The Easter Island mystery.
Right. So many.
So you guys actually believe that those things are not necessary extraterrestrial intelligence, but actually people, priestess or high priestess that knew how to bend the elements. They were masters.
If you ask a lot of those high priests and high priestesses, they'll tell you that people from the sky came down and told them. So it's a combination. I think it's earthly knowledge. I think it's people being resourceful and observing their natural world and the effects of things. But maybe it's combined with some knowledge from either extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional.
But I mean, and who's saying it's extraterrestrial, meaning like beyond the Earth? You start moving beyond the Earth, and what are we actually tapping into? I mean, is spirit terrestrial? Our inner intelligence? So regardless of the source of it, so to say, or the relationships along the way, information comes from somewhere in the inner world, and then it's channeled through, and wherever it comes from,
it's okay. We're sharing it.
It's okay. We're sharing it.
Exactly.
Sharing is caring.
What do you wanna like see? What's the goal of your music? What do you want to do with your music? What's the effect you want to have with your music?
Once again, personally, I would like to fill as many people as possible, and not just people. In fact, I'd say I'm playing for the whole world. I'm playing for the plants, for the rivers, for it's a song of celebration to fill people with the remembrance of our connectedness, so that they actually feel in their bodies through the aid of the music, the connectedness to absolutely everything, and that they can just rest in that and really, take that into their lives.
What do you say, Russell?
Amen. And what I would add is there's different cultures that we're involved in doing ceremonial work and using sound, really sound or music as lubrication, help us to let go into our nature. And there's a prayer that we say, and it talks about really the ultimate of music is to unify our souls with God or the divine. That's really what our music is about.
That's music. That's definitely music. I think one thing that I could not stand in life in this earth would be to have no music, which would be impossible. Even though there are people that don't like music, and I know some, but it seems that life without music, it's senseless.
Well, life is music, right? You are a symphony. I am a symphony. He is a symphony. We all are these vibrations, these collections of vibrations working in harmonious order. And with this greater vibration, and beyond that, with the great creator.
And
Om?
sometimes in great disorder. And really notice that as well. There's a lot of chaos in the world.
Yep.
But we've noticed the power and the medicine of music, if we can call it that, is that music, certain kinds of music, can allow us again to harmonize and to bring us back into this order, back into this harmonious relationship. And then from that, love naturally pours forth in our experience.
That's true. And so now we're going to listen to some music and see. I hope you play those extraterrestrial instruments that we enjoy so much, and it's been great, you guys, to allow us to have you in the radio. We'll build this up. We'll put it up in the video vlog, and we'll have people know you guys through our video blogs. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Mucho amor para todos en Ecuador. Yo soy brasileño, entonces.
Eres brasileño y
Hablo un
ahorita
poquito de español también.
Guau, y ahorita me dices, pero si hablas un inglés tan perfecto que yo pensé que eras totalmente gringo. ¿De Brasil de
Ahora
dónde?
sabes la verdad.
Sí, ¿de dónde eres? ¿Qué cosa
De San Paulo.
Ah, eres de San Paulo.
Sí.
Una ciudad muy grande. Sí, he
muy
estado
grande.
ahí. Por fútbol. ¿Hincha de qué equipo?
Sí, yo Palmeras.
Ah, de Palmeiras.
Sí.
Ah, bueno, Liga le ganó a la, ¿cómo se llama? Liga de Quito le ganó 2 veces al Quijue, ahorita ya me olvidé. Pero bueno, Ay, no, entonces, ¿vas a volver al Brasil o no?
Así, ahorita voy a ver cómo esta semana y después, más después vuelvo para acá.
Ah, sí, ¿y se van juntos o no? O...
No, esta vez solamente yo, después juntos.
Ay, no me digas.
también.
Que me tenía toreada con ese inglés tan perfecto que habla. Claro, you don't know what we're talking about. His English is so perfect. I thought he was un poquito español. And his Spanish is perfect, so he can come through Latin. But he's as handsome as a Brazilian, so.
Oh, thank you.
Ya, es cierto. Muchas gracias.
Gracias a vos.
Gracias. Okay.